Have you ever looked at your bank account after months of saving and thought, is this really moving the needle? You're working hard, cutting back on expenses, putting money into your investments, and yet the growth feels microscopic. But then, something starts to shift, slowly at first, then faster. The balances begin to climb in a way you've never seen before. And one day, you look at the numbers and realize, wait a second, my money is finally working harder than I am. That moment isn't random. It's not luck. It's hitting one of three powerful tipping points on the path to building wealth. These tipping points are where compounding shifts gears, where years of effort finally start paying off in ways that feel exponential. Here's the catch. Most people never make it far enough to experience these tipping points. They burn out during the grind phase and walk away just before the explosion happens. And if you stick around, I'll show you exactly what they are, how they work, and why most people quit just before they get there. Let's start with the hard truth. In the early stages, building wealth feels like watching paint dry. You're scraping together savings, maybe putting $200 or $500 a month into investments. You celebrate small wins, but then the market dips and wipes out months of progress. You add $5,000 over the year, and your investments grow by maybe $300. It's exhausting. And here's the trap. This is where most people give up. They think, if I'm working this hard for such little growth, it's pointless. This is why so many people never cross the first big milestone. They quit right before the math starts tipping in their favor. But the truth, this early grind is laying the foundation. It's like planting a tree. At first, you don't see much happening. The roots are growing underground, invisible. But once it takes hold, that tree can grow for decades. Wealth works the same way. You won't notice much in the beginning, but the compounding roots are digging deep. And when they finally break through the surface, that's when growth takes off in a way you can actually see. Tipping point 1. When your portfolio outpaces your contributions. The first tipping point happens the moment your investments grow more in a year than you personally contribute. Let's put numbers on it. Say you contribute $6,000 a year, about $500 a month. In the beginning, if you have $10,000 invested, even a 10% gain is only $1,000. You added 6 times that amount yourself. You're still the one carrying the load. But once your investments reach $100,000, a 10% return means $10,000. That's more than your $6,000 contribution. Your portfolio just worked harder than you did. Psychologically, this changes everything. Saving no longer feels like pushing a boulder uphill. You've built a snowball big enough to start rolling on its own. And from here, the math starts doing more of the heavy lifting, while you can finally breathe a little easier. This is why Charlie Munger famously said, "The first 100,000 is tough, but you've got to do it." It's brutal because you're the only fuel, but once you cross that threshold, compounding begins to pull its weight. The grind stage ends, and the momentum stage begins. Tipping point 2. When your portfolio rivals your paycheck. If tipping point 1 feels like a relief, tipping point 2 feels like a revolution. This is when your investments generate as much money in a year as your job pays you. If you earn $60,000 a year and you've built a $600,000 portfolio, a 10% return means $60,000. Suddenly, you've duplicated yourself. There's a second you out there earning a full salary without ever clocking in. Imagine the confidence this gives you. You're no longer chained to a paycheck. You can walk away from toxic jobs, negotiate harder, or pivot to work that excites you rather than drains you. Work stops being survival. It becomes a choice. Even if you keep working, you feel different. Your coworker making the same salary has one income. You have two. And the second one doesn't need vacation time or coffee breaks. It doesn't complain. It doesn't get tired. And it gets a raise automatically when your portfolio grows. This is the stage where people start realizing they're no longer working because they have to. They're working because they choose to. That's a powerful shift. And once you feel this kind of freedom, you'll never look at money or your career the same way again. Tipping point 3. When you reach financial independence. The third tipping point is the holy grail, when your portfolio is large enough to cover your lifestyle forever. Here's the math. If you follow the 4% rule, You can safely withdraw 4% of your investments every year and never run out of money. So if you spend $50,000 a year, you'd need around $1.25 million invested. At this point, work becomes optional. You can retire early, scale back, or keep working just for fun. Your portfolio is now a self-sustaining machine. Even if you stop contributing, it grows on its own. Your money is now officially working full-time, whether you are or not. And here's the crazy part. Once you hit this stage, the growth feels explosive. $1 million earning 10% adds $100,000 in a year. In less than a decade, you could double again. The compounding curve goes from flat to steep, and the numbers start moving faster than you ever thought possible. This is when people realize that wealth isn't about luxury. It's about freedom. The freedom to design your life on your terms. The freedom to wake up and choose what matters to you, not just what pays the bills. So, if the tipping points are so powerful, why doesn't everyone reach them? Because the early years feel painfully slow. Saving $20,000 or $50,000 takes sacrifice. Watching your portfolio creep up by a few $100s feels like a bad joke. Emergencies come up, markets dip, life distracts you. And that's the danger. People assume the small growth means the system doesn't work, when in reality they just haven't given compounding enough time to wake up. The people who reach these tipping points aren't necessarily the smartest investors or the highest earners. They're the ones who stay consistent long enough to let compounding flip the switch. They push through the boring years, the discouraging years, the years where it feels like nothing is happening, so that one day, everything is happening. Here's how you can reach each tipping point faster. Number 1. Maximize contributions early. The faster you get to that first $100,000, the sooner compounding snowballs. Live leaner in your 20s and 30s if you can. It buys you decades of growth. Every dollar you save early is worth more than 10 saved later because it has more years to multiply. Number 2. Automate everything. Automatic transfers into investments make consistency effortless. Remove willpower from the equation. When saving happens in the background, you don't give yourself the chance to make excuses. Number 3. Avoid lifestyle creep. As your income grows, channel raises into investments instead of bigger cars and houses. This one choice alone can shave years off your timeline. If you lock in your lifestyle at one level while your income rises, your future self will thank you. Number 4. Stay invested. The market will dip. Sometimes by 20%, 30%, even 50%. Those who panic and pull out reset the compounding clock. Those who stay invested get rewarded. History shows every crash has eventually turned into new highs, but only for the people who stayed in the game. Here's the beautiful paradox. In the beginning, money grows slower than you want. In the end, it grows faster than you ever imagined. At $50,000 invested, a 10% return adds just $5,000. At $500,000, that same 10% is $50,000. And at $1 million, it's $100,000, more than many people's entire annual salary. And with average returns, portfolios double roughly every 7 years. That means what took you decades to build at the start suddenly starts doubling in shorter and shorter bursts of time. That's why the rich get richer. Not because of secret tricks, but because once compounding kicks in, the snowball becomes unstoppable. It's not magic, it's math. But it feels like magic when it finally takes off. The tipping points aren't just about numbers, they're about freedom. Freedom to say no, freedom to walk away, freedom to design your day around purpose instead of survival. It's about waking up and realizing your choices aren't dictated by a paycheck anymore. The real payoff of wealth isn't the mansion or the sports car. It's the quiet confidence of knowing your bills are covered, your time is your own, and your future is secure. It's peace of mind, the ability to think long-term, and the space to focus on what actually matters to you: family, health, creativity, impact. So let's recap. The first tipping point is when your investments start earning more than you contribute. The second is when they rival your paycheck and give you the power of a second income. And the third is when they cover your lifestyle forever, unlocking true financial independence. Reaching these stages isn't easy. It takes patience, discipline, and consistency. But once you cross them, your net worth doesn't just grow, it accelerates. It explodes. And when it does, money stops being the question, and freedom becomes the answer. So here's my question for you. Which tipping point are you chasing right now? And what's your plan to hit it? Drop your answer in the comments because your story might inspire someone else who's still in the grind stage. If this video gave you a new way to look at wealth, make sure to smash that like button. It tells YouTube to share this with more people who need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this so you never miss the next step on your wealth journey. This is Minecraft, where ideas become action and action becomes your future.